Hello everybody and welcome to another Vintage Fans and More product spotlight made possible today by Hunter Fan Company. I love to bring in products from Hunter because they're always a major point of interest and speculation from my viewers. With so many new Hunter fans coming out all the time, I let my Instagram audience choose which spring release they'd like to see featured this year. After multiple rounds of voting, the Vivien came out on top. This fan was also one of my personal front-running favorites from Hunter this year in terms of unique design, so I was also thrilled with this selection. Be sure to follow me on Instagram if you want to get involved with influencing my product features. I've done a few of these head-to-head battles for new products on my stories, and they're so helpful to gauge what you guys want to see when I can't decide which products to bring in. While you're on there, be sure to follow Hunter Fan Company for your daily dose of ceiling fan content. They feature so many beautiful spaces and really showcase how their unique designs and finishes are being artfully implemented in creative ways. With that business out of the way, let's get into the details for the Vivien. Vivien is a 52-inch indoor-only fan available in two motor finishes, brushed nickel or the modern brass as shown on my fan today. Both motor options are paired with a white grain blade. Inside the fan is a 153 by 20 mm standard AC motor. This motor size is lower to mid-range within the entire Hunter line, and typically smaller than I'd prefer to see for premium performance with a fan of this size. But before we pass any judgment, let's look at how the airflow numbers stack up. The motor, paired with a 13-degree blade pitch, moves 5,931 cubic feet of air per minute at high speed. Going by the new Energy Guide standard of average airflow, the reading is 3,929 cubic feet of air per minute. Even discounting all of the other factors, these numbers stand alone as pretty solid average performance for a fan in the 52-inch size range. It just goes to show that a smaller motor can absolutely be optimized to perform just as well as a larger motor that maybe isn't living up to its full potential. The overall benefit, without sacrificing performance, is lower energy consumption. This fan is also one of Hunter's SureSpeed fans, which deliver 20% higher velocity than leading competitors. I'm going to cover more about SureSpeed and how it's different than CFM later in the video, so be sure to keep watching to learn why this is not simply a marketing gimmick. Included with the fan is Hunter's latest handheld remote control, which is pre-paired to the integrated receiver, so no confusing setup or complicated wiring is required. Having worked with a lot of canopy-mounted receivers on new products lately, which do have their own advantages, I've been loving Hunter's integrated receivers for a much simpler installation. The remote controls the 4 fan speeds, all of the light settings including dimming, and the reverse function. A cradle is included to mount the remote at any location desired, or an accessory wall control is available for separate purchase should you desire a fixed control location. This fan also ships with the dimmable specialty LED bulbs included, a really neat feature that Hunter has been expanding upon within their collections. Historically, the light bulbs included with ceiling fans and light kits have not been entirely attractive or overtly functional, but with so many Hunter fans, the light bulb has become an integral part of the design. I appreciate that maintenance of the design integrity is important enough to Hunter and its designers to put forward the cost and effort of including various specialty bulbs with their fans. To fully show off these bulbs, it takes the right glassware. These clear spherical forms were inspired by vintage modern chandeliers and really set the glam feel for this fan. Hunter has been introducing an immense range of specific glass styles for fans in recent years, and the quality has been really impressive. Like light bulbs, the glassware can be a bit of an afterthought when it comes to ceiling fans. This design feels so cohesive from top to bottom, a real testament to the use of customized glass. In terms of ceiling fan lighting, Hunter plays a very specific role for me when looking at the scope of the entire industry. As integrated LED downlights continue to dominate as the sleek preferred option, Hunter has not forgotten about multi-light options for the customers who truly need them. For locations where the fan is the only main light source, a more traditional multi-bulb light kit is the best option for optimal light output and dispersion. Hunter continues to evolve the styling of their light kits beyond what's been done before, and they've upped the quality and design impact of the glassware to offer fashionable fixtures that also provide the function necessary. As you can see, I've set the fan to low speed and the light kit is on and slightly dimmed. Like other Hunter products with integrated control receivers, this fan has audio tones to indicate when a command is received. There's been both positive and negative feedback on that end. I've seen complaints of it being too loud, and in a bedroom particularly, that might be true. Beyond that though, I don't personally find it to be overly bothersome, and I do like that there is some sort of indicator. It is mostly up to personal interpretation, but you just have to be aware that on non-Wi-Fi models like this, there is no way to turn those sounds off. As I've mentioned with other Hunter fans, both with AC and DC motors, I wouldn't mind seeing a slower low speed setting. AC motor models like this one have been achieving an overall good speed range, but with 4 speeds to play with, I'd love to see a slower setting that really sets a mood and moves only a whisper of air. Function is important, but I feel that the function of a ceiling fan is not just limited to airflow. Ceiling fans are often visual anchors of the spaces they occupy. There is such opportunity to set a scene with a wider range of motion, which is why speed range is always so critically important to me. I'll move into more information of note about the build and design of this particular model. In the very wide scope of the Hunter lineup, Vivien is upper mid-range in terms of build quality. After looking at everything from top to bottom, portions like the quality of the stamped metal components and motor size are lower tier than I would typically present, but that's not to say it's a bad product. I think it mostly demonstrates the very wide product offering that Hunter offers, and that you can move up and down some within the product line and still find a really great fan. I've worked with other products that felt overall heftier, but this is not an entire drop down to the lower quality I'd expect to see at the home center either. I say upper mid-range for this one because it has some of the incredible details that always blow me away with the most premium Hunter products. They're really taking their own approach to the popular finishes, in this case opting for a singularly unique painted gold tone over the typical plated option. Plating tends to result in what I feel to be a higher quality finish. However, the painted alternative has the advantage of an added depth of undertones. Despite being called modern brass, Hunter's use of gold isn't overly brassy. There are silver and bronze notes that make it accessible to mix in with other finish profiles. It allows you to dip a toe into the trendy golds and accessorize accordingly without having to commit to the finish everywhere. Extremely unique in their own right, these formed wood blades feature a simulated wood texture. It's such a subdued hint of the design, but this fan wouldn't be the same without it. Often we see the visual rendition of wood simulated on plastic blades just for the appearance of texture. But in this case, the actual texture is overlaid to give the feel of painted natural wood, while adding depth to an otherwise flat finish. These are the kinds of details that always impress me with the most premium Hunter products. There's always something unique and innovative that I've never seen done before. You may also notice the unique profile of the blades. The shape is tapered over the top side, which is reportedly engineered to increase performance. There's nothing I can personally cite to say what difference it makes, but considering the overall solid performance of this fan with everything factored in, I'm prepared to believe it's doing something positive. If nothing else, I feel the design makes for a super solid feeling construction, and they bring another unique element to the visual design of the fan. Now let's move up to high speed and get into more of the performance information. As I've mentioned throughout the video, high speed is very impressive when you combine all of the technical stuff and then compare it to other fans, even within the Hunter product line. It's a really good solid breeze. These engineered blades are thicker than typical and rather hefty in weight, so it's nice to see that it doesn't feel underpowered. In recent years, I've been really impressed with Hunter's turnaround in getting their high speeds up to par after a period in the later 2000s where many of their 52-inch and larger models felt somewhat underpowered and downright slow. With that in mind, now is a great time to cover Hunter's relatively new concept of the Sure Speed Guarantee. Essentially, the Sure Speed label indicates that the velocity of a given Hunter fan is higher than a general average of similar products, outside of other numbers or readings. Velocity in terms of airflow is essentially the directed displacement of the air, more in line with the perceived airflow you actually feel. CFM, on the other hand, is the volume of air being moved within a space, which doesn't all translate to what you feel. This gap can be perceived for the better or worse with any given fan. Each design moves air in its own unique way, which CFM doesn't account for, and in that way can be very unforgiving. While the Sure Speed categorization excludes the pure science of all the data, which renders it somewhat vague, I do feel that this is a useful, clearly indicative tool for the average consumer. With this classification, Hunter has essentially introduced what I've inadvertently been asking for the past year, a simplified answer for which fans within the product line put out the greatest perception of airflow. From a more knowledgeable standpoint, such as my own, this version is admittedly oversimplified, but it is the kind of clear messaging that makes sense on the consumer end. It has to be easy to communicate without getting too technical, otherwise you lose the average consumer on it and they end up not really caring. Hunter hit the proper marketing on this one, while actually introducing something helpful that's not simply hype. I feel really validated in this, seeing that a major manufacturer noted the same limitations with CFM that I did, then actively worked toward better clarity for everybody. Now it's time to enjoy some detail shots of the Vivien, and I'll be back at the end of the video to wrap up. Hunter continues to introduce concepts that push the boundaries of design and transcend the current trends. Vivien is no exception, introducing a pop of vintage glam like no other fan on the market. Elements like the quality of the glass exceeded my expectations, and while it's not the most premium of Hunter products from top to bottom, it's a fantastic mid-range fan that introduces immense style and good overall function. Hunter is the company that I've collaborated with for the longest. We're going on 5 years now, and I'm continually impressed by their wow factor in terms of design. They go places other companies would never venture into, which leaves me on the edge of my seat for what might come next. A big thank you to Hunter Fan Company for the continued partnership and for making this video possible. Be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell before you leave to get updates on all my new videos. And while you're at it, head over to the Hunter channel and do the same. They've always got various new videos going up, so I'll be sure to link them on the end card. You can also follow us both everywhere on social media. Those links will be in the description as always. Thank you all for watching today. Stay tuned for more new products coming soon, and I will see you next time. Click left to watch my last Hunter review, or click right for my entire Hunter playlist.